Jungle.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to another week of Movie Talk, joined by Aaron Gomez and Keanu. I just want to say, first off, happy birthday, Keanu.
Oh, thank you.
No, this is, we got to dedicate this to you. And honestly, how old are you turning now? Like, we're old.
Yeah, it's 24, man.
24. Jeez. All right, see, I'm 25, so I'm already having, that midlife crisis, so...
I just feel like they merged together. I just feel like after you hit 21,
yes.
and to a lesser degree, starting a little bit at 22, you just are like, 23, 24. Like, I don't know, I'm 20 something, you know?
Yeah, no, that's like the story of my life right now, because I'm like, after you pass 21 and you graduate college and you work with old people, you're just like, how old am I again?
I forget sometimes when people ask me, I'm like 1, 2, 3, 20 something.
I still say I'm 24 at the clubs. I'm like, oh, never mind. Because I turned 25 in April, so that's not too long ago.
Oh yeah. It's a valid thing to still be saying 24 at this point.
But yeah, we're getting old. But you know what's really getting old? X-Men under Fox, and
oh gosh,
pretty much it just got shitted on, and this article pretty much had Simon Kinberg admitting, hey, it's my fault, which is kind of fuck, he knew, he screwed up, and he was quoted saying, it clearly is a movie that didn't connect with audiences that didn't see it. It didn't connect enough with audiences that did see it, so that's on me. He continued saying he loved making the movie and loved working with the cast, but remember last week we brought up, he was literally changing the script on a daily basis, which is an issue. But I think new fact that I found out about was that when they were actually, before he was even signed to direct, the reason why they gave it to him, because when Bryan Singer went AWOL on Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, in the previous installments, Kinberg actually filled in, so that kind of gave the confidence to the cast that he'd take over. Hearing this news, it's whatever. It kind of sucks for Dark Phoenix. I just really think, giving Kinberg, even though he does have experience producing, is a whole different ball game. Have you seen Dark Phoenix?
And here's the thing, right? Is at this point, I want to just because I want to see if it's as bad as it's being made out to be. Yeah. I actually, when I was reading the notes before we started, I actually felt bad. I felt bad after reading, how this guy put his heart into it. He really loved the film, and then it just I'm so used to panning it. I'm so used to ragging on it. Then now that I see him being upfront and being man, yeah, it does suck. I'm like, damn, I feel bad for him. But that being said, it's film isn't easy. Film, you have to know what you're doing. I have heard in the past about Bryan Singer going AWOL on production, so it makes sense that Kinberg did pick up for him. But like you said, picking up the slack for a director and straight up taking over, there's a big and this transition from screenwriter to director, that's a big difference. And that's not to say that he can't do it. One, I would have to see the film, and two, people make mistakes, but
it's a gamble.
It's a gamble.
With a big budget film like that.
Yeah.
And even though it is this is the cherry on top. This is the last taste that we're gonna get, technically, if you don't count New Mutants, because New Mutants is still technically supposedly supposed to come out. But. So Dark Phoenix is at 23% right now on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's 74% like it from Google according to the users. But I heard it was bad, I hear, but it wasn't to what Rotten Tomatoes had it to come out to be.
Right.
Because Rotten Tomatoes is such a hard fucking litmus test for any movie to come by.
Well, and the other thing is, it's a bad culture that it's creating. Mm-hmm. Right? First of all, excuse me, I feel like probably 75% of people don't understand Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes is a score of how many reviews were good or bad. Mm-hmm. It's not a score. It's not saying it's a 30%. It's saying 30% said it was a good film. And that's just the first metric. Then you have to look at, okay, well, how does Rotten Tomatoes decide what's a good and bad review? Sometimes they don't attach numbers and they just say random words.
Rotten or fresh.
And it ends up getting categorized as bad or good. So that's the one thing that I don't, I really don't like about Rotten Tomatoes. That's the one thing that, because Rotten Tomatoes has, in the last few years, it's really become one of the, if not the largest rating service or rating metric that people use for films.
No, I 100% agree with that, because I remember, well, I still do this. Like, so when we go on the Fandango app, we're clicking on a movie title, Rotten Tomatoes is there. Yep. Like next to it, so it obviously has ties to all these like movie corporations that are selling tickets, because
are they owned by the same or Xbox?
I don't know. That's a quite good question, but the fact that they have it's not a huge like addition to the Fandango app, but it's on. But it's
big.
Screen.
It's big enough. Yeah. It's big enough.
Yeah, it's big enough, and it's like Rotten Tomatoes has, like you said, just to add on, like it's been such a behemoth now for movie reviews. In a bad way, in my opinion, because I think they make it so difficult. Owned by the same people. Yeah, they make it so difficult for any property. Like we talked about Glass. Like I think we talked about Glass. Yeah. So I thought Glass wasn't that bad. Like I get why it got panned, but like they just shitted on it. And honestly, like Glass was supposed to be a movie that wasn't like, it was supposed to defy the big blockbuster theme of like what these superheroes are, and it did it. Like people should. It's an art. I don't know. I just love that movie for some reason. But yeah, Dark Phoenix, Rotten Tomatoes, even Metacritic, like that's another one that's more like relatable. I kind of rely more on Metacritic, because right now Metacritic is 43%, so that's more of like a reasonable, number. I hear it's not bad as Wolverine Origins, so it's like it's still bearable.
It has that going for it.
Yeah, so that's like a good, standard for them to compare. But to add on to the news, this is the largest second week drop for a big budget superhero movie, and this is according to Forbes. So what Dark Phoenix took the title from was actually Batman v Superman, which took a big dip the second week with a negative 81%, which Dark Phoenix beat it by 83.2. So
goodness.
Yeah, so it's kind of like word of mouth does go around, and plus,
absolutely.
Like the way like this movie was advertised, kind of, I felt like they just half-assed it, like the advertising.
Oh yeah, well that was the other thing I wanted to add, was like I do feel bad for Simon, because he went into it. People were not excited about this film to begin with. Apocalypse was not. Apocalypse was.
In theory, it was hyped up.
It was and then people watched it, and they Ivan Ooze, and just like the script, the film wasn't as strong as the film before it, and people were tired of it. People got tired of this franchise with Apocalypse, and so when Dark Phoenix came out, you have people who are tired. You have people who are tired from X-Men films in general, because this is like the 6th or 7th one. You got people who are tired of Fox X-Men because they don't want to translate directly from the comics. You have people who are tired of the franchise, adaptation of Dark Phoenix, because they've already done it once with the Last Stand. So you have all these people who are just tired of these films. You don't have that great of a of a starting point.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you end up marketing it half-assed, because Fox is getting ready to be bought out by Disney. It creates a perfect. This film was set up to fail.
Yeah, you could tell there was no passion, and like I was hearing, according to people that watched it, you can tell like Jennifer Lawrence was just like not about it, like just the way she was acting. Yeah, for a while, and she never liked wearing the the makeup for Mystique. So that's why I always like hit these movies like critically, because like Mystique's all about mutant pride, and yet again she's like blending in as the human side of her, and I'm just like, okay, it doesn't match up, but of course Jennifer Lawrence had her say in it. So like if I had to say, this is an end of an era. Definitely my top movies for this era of movie, like these films, is just Logan, X2, and First Class. I mean, what are your thoughts on like your top? Yeah, so those were, I think that's like a universal thing. I have to rewatch X2 because it's been so long, but when I saw it, it was just amazing, and it was such a good sequel for what it was to the first.
Completely.
So yeah, it's getting torn apart by critics, but there was another report that they actually were trying to plan a Beast solo spin-off. So it was set in the late 80s between X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. The film was a horror/monster story influenced by the John Carpenter's The Thing. And you would have seen Hank McCoy, a.k.a. the Beast, facing off with a monstrous mad scientist turned Wendigo in a snow-covered Alaskan village while still battling his inner quote-unquote beast. Wolverine and Professor X were also to be included, and Mr. Sinister was to be introduced. But it seems that the franchise honcho, Simon Kinberg, refused to even read this completed draft. So, that's pointless.
I'm very torn on this.
It sounds cool, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounds cool, but then it's like, okay.
But it's Fox.
And Beast as a character... I mean, he does have some story beats dealing with his inner beast, but he's never been the Hulk. You know what I'm saying? Like he's never. And if don't get me wrong, I'm sure like I said, I'm sure there's storylines where he has had to deal with his beast, and I know there's Dark Beast, and I know, but Beast, especially for the common person, is the Professor. Mm-hmm. Is another professor. It's him upside down reading a book with his glasses.
Yes, that's so iconic.
Right, like that is the Beast. So the fact that they're choosing him, and they're basically creating their own Hulk. They're creating the Hulk storyline I just was telling you about last week. The immortal Hulk. This is basically it right here. They're basically taking the immortal Hulk, but they're just changing it to the Beast, which is like it's a cool story and it's a cool premise, but that's not who the Beast is. And it's also X-Men. It's also X-Men from Fox. So I have high. I don't have very high expectations just reading about this synopsis because it's from them. And then in addition, Wolverine and Professor X are both the two strongest characters in the X-Men franchise right now, but we've also had Logan with them. So do we really need another film with just those two? Wendigo is a cool character, but he's pretty basic, pretty C tier, so I'm not sure if that's going to bring a lot of people in. And then the biggest tidbit of information is Mr. Sinister. But Mr. Sinister should have been brought on movies ago. He's one of the X-Men's biggest villains. He shouldn't be relegated to a Hank and McCoy spinoff.
Yeah, I think that's just disrespecting the character. And plus, like, I'm trying to understand the time frame because they said it's between Apocalypse and whatever, Dark Phoenix. Is it because of like the success of Logan? They wanted to introduce Mr. Sinister because they had hints of him,
right?
His company in Logan. Yep. So I was thinking like maybe that's why they were thinking about it, but like. Reading the synopsis, I'm interested because forget that it's Fox, but imagine like they said it's based on like inspired by John Carpenter's The Thing. I love that movie, and it's in Alaska where Beast should be. Like he's like the Bigfoot in that area. That's such a cool area in the Wendigo. But then like you said, once you tap on it's Fox, I'm like okay, and they have to understand their characters because I love Beast. In the X-Men. I think he's very underrated because the reason I love him is because he's brawn and he's brains, which is like awesome. And having himself in the spotlight for the Illuminati for Professor X was like a great move.
Yeah, definitely.
But they don't understand that Beast is like a small character. Characters like him and Gambit work perfect in a team movie, not to carry it. I don't know if it's because the casting of who they had, Nicholas Hoult.
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Maybe Nicholas Holt's casting because he's a good-looking young guy.
He was almost Batman. Like I think they saw him as a leading man next to because he's definitely younger than James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. Mm-hmm. So they probably were looking to him to be the shepherd, to shepherd in the next big franchise. Because, like you said, because who he is.
Yeah, that's the only reasoning I could think about it. But yet again, I'm thinking like what the time frame is because you said X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. Maybe this is like due to Logan. I don't know. It sounds cool though. Like it does sound cool. But
it sounds cool. Literally, I keep reading it as we talk about it, and I'm just thinking about the Incredible Hulk. They already made the Beast. They already kind of made the Beast into Hulk with the whole formula, him taking the formula and transforming when he's angry. They already when did they introduce that? Was that Apocalypse or was that Days of Future? I think it was Apocalypse, right? That they introduced him taking the serum so that he's not always blue. Either way, though, that's the Hulk.
Yeah,
the Beast is never really. He's always been blue. He's always. He's not always. Like he started out just like with the big feet and everything, but as a human with big feet and big hands. But in the last 2-3 decades, he's been the blue furry beast.
Mm-hmm.
And then, basically, the Fox probably wants to, like we talked about with Jennifer Lawrence, and like we talked about him being, kind of a big name. They probably just kept wanting to show his face, so they created that little formula thing so that he was basically the Hulk. And now reading this, and this is the perfect film for the Hulk.
Exactly.
But for the Beast, like you said, he works best as a part of the X-Men.
Yeah. I think it's Days of Future Past, because remember Professor X had to inject himself to lose his telepathy.
Oh, it was.
Because I was gonna say First Class, but remember he amplified himself when he tried to make the serum, so he turned.
That's why I started. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Nicholas Holt's casting is like the main reason for it, but it's just like the fact that they said I'm reading again too, like the fact that they said horror monster, like it just sounds good in theory, maybe for a comic book run, in the snow.
I want this film. I want a horror monster story about someone going up against the Wendigo in Alaskan Village, but I just want it to be in the MCU about the Incredible Hulk. That's what it needs to be.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we'll move on. More Shang-Chi news. Well, this is like a rumor, but they're according to the hashtag show, Ludi Lin. If you kind of remember him he's a Black Power Ranger from the Power Rangers. He's actually like being considered as the top choice for the martial arts expert. And also, who's the other guy? Ross Butler is being looked over by Kevin Feige. And another rumor was getting thrown around saying, in addition, Marvel's reportedly hopes to meet the legendary Donnie Yen in another lead role, which would be great. People, there's a chance for him to be Shang-Chi, but I don't think it's him. I think he's going to be like an elder or quote unquote wise old statesman. Yeah, especially to carry a franchise if this were to kill it. Let's just remind you guys, Shang-Chi will be directed by Destin Cretton, who's another Asian director, but he actually has just been doing all short films, so this is kind of like his initial directing debut. But this is not a problem because Marvel's been recruiting all small directors.
It's so funny because we just talked about Simon with Fox, and we're like, oh, that's a big gamble. But now when Marvel does it, it's all good. It's
different. No,
but it's facts. Yeah. It's facts.
It's facts. It is facts. But when I say it's his directing debut, I mean for a big budget film. So he has the directing background.
Short.
Yeah, the foundation's there. But we already have Marvel's trust because they already gave it to people who did the fucking, Arrested Development, like the Russo brothers and, the Taika Waititi, who's the coolest director today, just for fucking Ragnarok. And whoever did the last Spider-Man movie he only did small films as well.
Yeah, John Watts.
Yeah, Watts. He did small films as well. So, I hope Ludi Lin is Shang-Chi because one, he's jacked as fuck, and I just saw him in Black Mirror. Fucking good looking dude. He's already in martial arts, and I think he's he's 30, but Asian people, they age well. It's just he's gonna be fine. He can hold it.
Chadwick Boseman is 40 something. That guy looks like he's 20.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
yeah. Black don't crack, Asian don't raisin.
Yeah, yeah. Until you hit 70, and then we all look the same. But besides that, Ludi Lin. Yeah, seriously, Ludi Lin. Yeah, when I saw him in Black Mirror, dude, this kid's jacked. He doesn't need the Marvel workout.
the Marvel workout, the Marvel routine.
Yeah, the Marvel routine that Paul Rudd and the rest of the cast have taken. But
it's crazy.
I don't know Shang-Chi. That's the thing. I get what they're doing. Let's step down for a little bit because Endgame was just so big, so we need to rebuild back up. But if we do lead back to the event, when we do lead back to the Avengers, how is he even gonna?
Well, I know him from my biggest exposure to him was from the Spider-Man storyline. I think probably probably 5 years ago, and it was Spider-Man lost his spider sense. And so he was immediately just getting beat up and shot at, and so he went to Shang-Chi and he was and Shang-Chi was listen, if it was honestly like Spider-Man Homecoming, where he was if you're nothing without the spider sense, you shouldn't have the spider sense. And so he trained him to become as aware as a martial artist, and it ended up supplementing his spider sense. So that's I've known him before that, but that was my big exposure to him. And so, I think I think what they'll probably end up trying to do is similar to the Doctor Strange's film, where he finds an older the wise old statesman, and he learned the ways of sorcery. I could see it being a better Iron Fist, and he ends up finding the secrets of martial arts, and they probably would add a little bit of a supernatural element, just so that he is up there on the power scale, so he's not simply just a good ninja. You know what I'm saying? He has. I'm sure they'll add some type of mysticism to it.
Okay, I hope they do that, because I was looking at his thing. I'm like, dude, this guy's like a street level defender, and Iron Fist has get better powers than him.
Right.
I see it, but what were you saying?
Well, and like if we're gonna get a street level character, I mean, I would love to get a Daredevil movie before anybody, but
absolutely.
Hopefully they do something more with his character. Hopefully they do kind of amp him up, you know.
You know what's funny? They actually did. I don't know. It's one of the talk shows, like Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. And it had Tom Holland and the host, and he's like in a fucking dry cleaning thing, and Tom Holland's like, "Yeah, I'm here to pick up my mask," and the host pulls out Daredevil's mask. He's like, "Is this it?" He's like, "No, like I need another. It's the one with the white eyes." And then he pulls out Deadpool's, and he's like, "No, not that." And then he pulls out Spider-Man's. I'm like, "Damn, they referenced Daredevil. Like that's like the biggest crossover for them, right?"
The most we're ever gonna get in the form of a MCU and Marvel television crossover.
Sadly, but like the fact that Donnie Yen's being brought into the conversation, and like this is gonna be the Black Panther of Asians. This is gonna be the crazy rich kung fu men, or I don't know, the kung fu masters.
I need one for Spanish people.
Yo, yeah.
I just need one.
Who's a Hispanic superhero?
There's like nobody. There's
really?
I think there's white. The first one that comes to mind is White Tiger. Is White Tiger for Marvel and Vibe for Justice League for DC.
Blue Beetle's Hispanic.
Blue Beetle. Yeah.
Because the only Asian superheroes I know are like complete stereotypes, and like the Hulk, the one version of Hulk.
Amadeus Chow.
Yeah, Chow, who I heard's like, I don't know. He's like a split between some fans. But yeah, Donnie Yen being written on, and it's getting directed by an Asian director, which is great, because I don't think they're, obviously Shang Chi just sounds like a stereotype. I have to see. I need to see a fucking trailer to like really get the vibe of it. I just need the people that made the raid to like direct the fighting choreography or something. Like you gotta allow us. But if they start recruiting like heavy hitters like Donnie Yen, and then like Jackie Chan's in it and Jet Li, like oh shit, like it's on.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be
so dope, especially if Jackie Chan. Oh man, I'm getting excited. That's just crazy.
That's why they need to do it. They need to do it.
No, they do. They need to, like they did with Black Panther. They need to step their shit up for this. But remember, this is a rumor, people, and like next news is like in another rumor. So people are saying like there's rumblings that maybe Norman Osborn in the Dark Avengers could be possibly in the MCU. Well, right now, because what they're saying is Marvel Studios is looking for someone to play a character under the code name the Benefactor, and he's been described as a mysterious and nefarious benefactor. And it said that the studio is looking for a male actor, preferably Caucasian, in the between 40s and 60s. And they're actually going to shoot scenes in Atlanta this year. So, like, if you guys don't recognize the Benefactor, or like that code name, it was kind of mentioned in Ant-Man and the Wasp by Sonny Birch, and he was actually employed by him, and he said he's employed by quote unquote the Benefactor. Could this be Norman Osborn? If it is Norman Osborn, and Tom Holland admitted that he was doing a trilogy on an interview because he's an idiot and he always like forgets that he admits shit on live TV. You think it's like too late to like include Norman Osborn if like the trilogy's wrapping up, or so far?
It's been. I think we got confirmation of a trilogy from the initial announcement. Like I think when Tom first signed, I think it was somewhere online public knowledge that his contract was for three films, solo films. Yeah. So, but that being said, there's been rumors that Marvel has talked to Sony and extended that contract. That's the first thing. Okay. Secondly, there's no Kevin Feige would not introduce Norman and also tie him to Ant-Man and tie him into other films, unless they redid that contract. Unless he has guaranteed like 6 movie appearances, there's no way. There's no way Kevin Feige would put him in.
That's what I was like. I completely agree with that because I'm like, if you're gonna introduce such a big character for the last film and not have him for like at least 2 movies, like you're blowing up like you're ruining an opportunity. To be honest, you're gonna rush
personally, I think they changed their contract. I think they re-upped it, and I think Tom has at I would say honestly at least not including Far From Home, I would say at least 3 more appearances, 3 to 4, and I would say that's probably 2 solo outings and 2 crossovers at least.
Okay,
because then it's.
You keep on. My bad.
Well, no, you go. Yeah, go. I said you go ahead.
Well, because I remember we got Tom. He's young, right? Spider-Man's young, and the reason why they did that because they want to quote like this is what I made up. They want to Harry Potter him. We have to like watch him grow. And yet again, like this is the second movie that's coming out. Like I still see him as a kid. You know, like he hasn't even become a photographer yet. He's not with J. Jonah Jameson. So there's like so much needed to be done. Like give him like a 4 or 5 movie. Like it's not a what's after a quadrilogy? I don't like a tetra. I don't even know what's 5. But
it's like Scientology.
Probably. But like the point is, he's still young, and I like remember the rumors were like with Deadpool and Pentology. Like the rumors with Deadpool and Venom. Like Venom, it's too early in my opinion to even have him there. Like how is he gonna run in with Brock when he's not a photographer? Like there's so much shit that needs to get done, and even if Tom ages like in the story, like he still looks like a baby, and he's like what? 22?
Oh yeah. The kid looks like he's like 12.
He looks like a baby. Like the Spider-Man in PS4 is like 25, 24. And Tom doesn't look like that. I don't know.
At all.
Not at all. But it would be huge because I don't see Norman become the Iron Patriot because we already use that name.
Yeah.
You know, introducing the Dark Avengers or even Green Goblin, like,
or maybe he could. I mean, honestly, maybe he could. I mean, if anything, maybe it's more likely that he becomes Iron Patriot because it could be a storyline of like he steals the Iron Patriot armor and then like Rhodey, you know, is like distraught because that's, you know, it's his best friend's armor, and is, you know, I can see him doing something like that. I don't want them to. I want Green Goblin. That's what I want.
That's what I was like about to delve into because I'm like I don't like. So we can admit that Norman Osborn's story has changed, like in a different path it is today instead of just the Green Goblin. So that's what I want, like Green Goblin, because that's Spider-Man's arch nemesis right there. Like, eventually it has to happen. I don't know. It's a rumor. I don't even if he say it's true. What movie is he dropping in? Black Widow? Like, we're not getting a Spider-Man film. Like it's already done. The second one.
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm stumped because it's like we don't know. We like he's not going to be in the Eternals.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
He's not going to be in Black Panther 2.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. If anything, he gets introduced as a post-credit scene in Spider-Man 2. Like they don't show him, but he gets like they reveal that the benefactor is Norman. Like it's like, you know, like the after credits is like a building being like Avengers Tower being bought by the benefactor, and then it's like a news clipping, and it's like mysterious benefactor buys Avengers Tower, and then it shows like someone sitting in like a wheel, like in a office chair, but from behind, so you don't have to cast them. And if someone walks in and they're like, "Sir, Mr. Osborn, the tower's ready" or something, and then it's like he's there, but you don't have to cast him yet.
Yeah, that'd be perfect, actually. Yeah, I was thinking the Baxter Building or something like that. But that actually did come up in news, like, who bought the Avengers Tower, but they didn't really delve into it. But Norman Osborn's
I
name
see
was
them doing it though. I could see it could either turning into the Baxter Building or turning into a Norman building or an Oscorp building.
Absolutely. And wait, didn't they reference they referenced the Norman Osborn in Amazing Spider-Man 2? Correct? Like at the end?
Oh, he was in it. Remember he
but you don't see him.
No, you see him. He dies, and then the whole thing was like he was gonna, at the end of the movie, they were gonna have like his head cryogenically frozen or something. That was like, but he was in it. He was
who was the guy at the end? Like in the dark suit, he was like creepily talking to someone about.
I think he was just a guy. Like he was just like he was set up to just be like the guy who works for him.
Okay,
Kind
because
of
I
kind of like Thanos' right hand man in Avengers 1 at the end, the outsider or whatever his name is, that
yeah, yeah.
he might have been a comic book character, but he seemed like he played a more important role, but he actually was just like a random character.
Yeah, because I was wondering who that was. He said, "Oh, the secret that Peter Parker's parents are still alive." Spoilers, but yeah, I was wondering
Well,
who that
the
was.
franchise is dead anyway.
Yeah, it's dead in the dirt. So is Swamp Thing, sadly.
Oh,
Sadly.
too soon.
Too
Too
soon.
soon.
Yeah,
Too
I know.
soon.
I know. I just,
It
but like,
hurts.
if we're gonna carry on with Spider-Man, so you saw this, you had to have seen this.
Yeah.
There was a little, a little ad made. It was a number 4 made out of web, and it threw me off. I'm surprised I didn't message you, but I was like, "There's no way they're making a Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4," and it's kind of been going around the internet. People were like, "Oh, it's Spider-Man, maybe Fantastic Four, or it's a Spider-Man 4 comic adaptation, like
That's
sequel."
what I thought. That's what I thought. I thought it was a
Yeah,
comic adaptation because a lot of companies have been doing that recently. They take scripts for films that weren't produced that people were super interested in, and they make a comic so that people can still experience it. And I thought this was going to be Spider-Man 4, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4 script turned into a comic.
I wouldn't mind that. But like, yeah,
But now it's a countdown.
you taught me something because I didn't know movies were doing that. Like,
Yeah, they did it for the original. They did it for the original Star Wars script. They did it for the original Planet of the Apes script.
Which
And
one?
I think it was like
The Mark Wahlberg one.
I think it was the OG. Like it was
Okay.
like the third or fourth OG one.
Well, they did it for Aliens also after
Right,
the
yeah,
second one, but it's not.
It's
canon,
been a
obviously.
popular thing they've been doing.
Yeah, that's true. When I like in retrospect, I'm thinking about it. But the thing, like, what really brought people's attention was Alex Ross. He actually put
Love
up a
that guy.
tweet of MJ, Spider-Man holding MJ and swinging, and then he deleted it. But it said like with the captions hashtag Spider-Man 4.
I was wondering. I saw people on his because I follow him on Instagram. I saw people commenting on his other posts that he posted around that time. They're like, "We know you posted." And I'm like, "What did he
Yeah,
post?"
and he deleted it. Yeah,
Yeah, I
on
was wondering
Twitter.
what it was.
Did you see the picture yet?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I'm about to bring that up. But like, if we're
Someone
gonna,
screenshot it.
it's someone did. Here, try looking it up. But the thing that's important to notice is like, Sam Raimi did want to make Spider-Man 4, and he was gonna have Vulture as a villain. So I'm like kind of curious of like what interpretation they're gonna have as Vulture, because Homecoming had their version, and if you're gonna try for Raimi, like I'm kind of curious how he'd do his interpretation of Vulture, because I remember playing the Spider-Man game, and Vulture was in the PS2 game, and he looked like the comic book, green feathers and everything, and I was just like, oh god, like what the fuck? But I don't know. It's just bringing up a lot of news, but I'm down for that. I mean, if they're gonna make a comic, that just like it gives me hope. I'm like, oh my god, what if they did like a multiverse crossover with like Toby and Garfield, like just for one scene?
That would be crazy.
Yeah, like I'm just like hearing this shit, and I'm like, oh man, like
I really think this is what it's going to be because now that I see the picture,
yeah, you see it. Okay,
because that's MJ in her outfit from
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 or 1, whatever one.
yeah, I actually just sent it while you said that, but yeah, it's her Chinese costume or whatever.
It
But
has
it's like-
to. I honestly,
it-
that's what I think it is.
I'm for it. I mean,
We'll
that would
find out on the 19th because they just made it. It's a countdown because they just did 3 today. They made
yeah.
it 3, so 2, 1. It'll be either on the Wednesday or Thursday. We find out what it is.
I mean, I think it's gonna sell. I think so because it's just like
Absolutely.
you're stimulating curiosity out of the fan base, and as much as like I love the Sam Raimi franchise because it just sucked that Spider-Man 3 kind of fucked it up and tainted like all of it.
It's really frustrating.
Because it was at a point where Spider-Man 2 was the best comic book movie for a
Yep.
while, and Doc Ock was such a good interpretation.
good. Alfred
Casting, J. Jonah Jameson. I didn't say J.K. Rowling instead of yeah, fuck that.
J.K.
But,
Rowling was so good in that film.
yeah, man, she played that gay lesbian. Shit. Killed it. But yeah, I mean, we'll find out. And you're right, they did have the 3 posted today, so we'll see in a couple of days how it goes. I would definitely be invested in buying it because just knowing that like so we're obviously movie nerds, and we're assuming the people that listen to this shit have heard of like Spider-Man 4 being in the talks, but it just didn't care. It was close to being started, but then it just didn't.
Yeah,
and
they
then
said
they had to reboot it. It was so close to getting like about to begin filming.
yeah,
But
yeah. And they said in an interview, like Sam was like, yeah, there's no. He was like, there's no story behind it. There's no. We literally were writing the script, and I really wanted to end it on a high note because I felt like 3 wasn't strong. And Sony came to me and they're like, listen, we really want a script. We really want to put this film into production. And he was like, unfortunately, I just don't have it ready. But I understand if you guys want to reboot, because I know you guys have been thinking about it. And then they were like, yeah, we were thinking about it. I appreciate.
Come on.
They're like, we appreciate you being upfront with us. We're gonna go ahead and reboot it. Like, it was super casual, super like no. But
where's the fight in him? What the fuck?
I think he was definitely super like bummed out from 3 because it wasn't as good because of, like we talked about, the people in the suits. It was because of Sony executives butting in. That's why 3 wasn't as good as 2 and 1. So
see, that's where that's where they fucked up in casting. Topher Grace, I really didn't like that.
Yeah, it was weird. I liked Topher Grace, but I felt like that was a really weird way to cast Eddie Brock. Like,
Brock's jacked. He's like a typical jock. He's like a monster. But like that, okay, so we talk about casting, like Robert Pattinson, Batman. Sometimes they're really good at casting, sometimes they're not, because one, I said Topher Grace, and then Lex Luthor from Batman v Superman.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what the hell they were going for.
That was horrible. Like,
I tried to have belief that it was gonna work, but it obviously didn't. I don't know.
I don't know if I talked. I feel like I've talked about this so many times. I feel like I might have talked about it when we did our in-person episode, but I went into Batman v Superman. I went into it expecting Lex Luthor to be all this like super eccentric, super like giddy character, and then I expected him to be defeated by Superman, for him to go to jail, and I expected for him to be hardened in jail, and then I expected for him to be the post credits, him with his shaved head, and then him be like super formidable, like a total transformation, and then people would be like, oh, okay, like this was kind of like an origin story for him, and like he wasn't always this like super like intelligent. No, well, not he was always intelligent, but he wasn't always a super suave, controlling character. It was only through his defeat in Superman. I thought it was gonna be a really cool story. I thought there was gonna be a really cool transformation. I thought Jesse was gonna completely change up, and none of that happened. And I was very disappointed.
And we thought that
that was like, they were like, "This you thought?"
Yeah, because we were on the Heisenberg train, right fresh off of Breaking Bad, wrapping up. Dude, remember the San Diego Comic-Con when they announced Batman v Superman was happening and people were freaking out?
Everyone thought that Bryan Cranston was going to be Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
everyone.
Dude, literally when that news dropped, I was in the Poconos and I read it. I'm like, oh my god, is Christian Bale coming? Like, how are they gonna do this? How's this possible? Like, I was so hyped for it. Now that we look back, I'm like, fuck it, fuck it. Because what they did was they read the line from Dark Knight Returns, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. But I don't know, like. Batman v Superman, we're going to build off of that, like more Batman news. Mask of the Phantasm's actually getting a comic book adaptation, so it's going to be part of canon starting January 2020, and it's actually getting written by Tom King in the Batman Catwoman series. So, like, Keanu, what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm actually pretty excited, because listen, I'm not a huge comic guy, but I read main events, and I didn't know Mask of the Phantasm hasn't been applied besides the animated series. So this is kind of like shocking to me, because it's such a good movie.
Yep, exactly what you just said. It's regarded as one of the best Batman films. It's the best animated Batman film. The character has a lot of, kind of like a cult classic, has a lot of fans despite its 1 or 2 appearances. And I think it's a really cool thing to make Batman Catwoman stand out even more. Like Tom already kind of has his story that he's planning, and he already has the whole Batman Catwoman marriage. But I think the Mask of Phantasm is a great way to be like, listen, it's not only about this. Like, people who are fans of this, come check this out.
Yeah, and it's like, we don't know if it's like a villain or like, a deadly friend, and we don't even know if it's the same person we thought in the animated series is like behind the mask. So to give like people like more information on this run, it's actually going to be a 12-issue series that's going expected to happen after his final Batman issue, which is going to be released in December. So I mean, obviously, like, Tom King's just been like the head of talk, especially with New Gods, and like the whole Batman series. But I really, not much to say about it, but I'm excited. But Keanu, you want to add anything else, or we can move on?
No, the only thing I was gonna say was they just recently did this with another Batman character, with the Arkham Knight. They took the character from the video games and introduced it in issue like 1001 Detective Comics, and that ended up being somewhat different behind the mask. So I do think it's going to be the same character, just because they are kind of like so intrinsically tied. But the president is there that they would switch it up.
Yeah, so I'm excited for it. Batman animated series, I think, was just perfect. And
so good.
That's like the only reason I'd buy like DC Universe, especially. Like, I would love to watch that like late night and just like pass.
That's what I've been doing. Put it on Batman Beyond late at night. It's so cool.
It's such a. It would be my Office, because like I pass out to The Office, so it's like I'd put that on any day. So like, moving on, more DC news. Justice League Dark. So fresh off the cancellation, Swamp Thing was envisioned to run for at least 3 seasons, and it sounds like they were trying to develop a Justice League Dark team up series, kind of like the Defenders, obviously. So this is a quote.
I'm emotional.
Yeah, I knew this is gonna hit you home, because when I put it down, I was like, oh, Keanu's like, wow. It's like that meme with Hawkeye, Ronan. He's like, please don't give me hope.
Yeah,
like,
literally
you right now. So the quote is, one source close to the production told Business Insider that the show had a possible 3-season arc, and the feeling on set was that it could have gone past that if it was a hit, with characters spinning off into their own shows. The source used a specified example of potential Justice League Dark team-up series. So, including the Justice League Dark, it's Deadman, John Constantine, Shade the Changing Man, and Zatanna. I would love to see John Constantine again. I didn't like the CW stuff. I think it was kind of cheesy. But the Justice League Dark animated movie, fire.
Flames.
I love that. And then the fact they had Batman as a cameo, and like the Grim Reapers scared of Batman, like that was a great scene. I know you hold this dear and close to your heart, especially with the cancellation, but hearing this probably just kills you, like the potential of that, like this happening.
Big facts.
Especially like they said, the 3-season arc, because it was like weird rumors before the rebates and shit like that happened. I was hearing rumors that like, oh, they made the show, but they didn't have like enough material to make it last. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of stupid.
Like, I just don't like how. First of all, how does anyone enter? Like, how does a showrunner? And I mean, it's happened, but like, how does a competent showrunner? How does James Wan put his name on something and then be like, oh, and no one on the set be like, oh, I don't know how we're gonna get past season 1. Like, that doesn't come on, dude. Like,
yeah. It's a lot of
and
talk.
in the show, and not to cut you off, but in the show, they're already kind of setting it up, because they showed the character. Do you know the character Blue Devil?
Yeah, I heard of it. But I don't know much.
Yeah, exactly. So like they introduced in the first episode the character who becomes Blue Devil, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like a little hint, a little nod. Like, and I thought that was it. Like, I thought it was just gonna be straight up like, oh, like, how sometimes they add characters in just for fun. And already on episode 3, they're already hinting at him having like something more behind the scenes. They're like, oh, like they're like showing him being mysterious and like showing him like having like this fate. And I'm like, so you're already setting it up to be like, there's more characters in this, and it's like there's no way they didn't have a story if they're already setting up other characters. Because even if you run out of Swamp Thing material, you can have Blue Devil material. Like, there's no way they didn't plan ahead.
It's, oh god, like I think this would have been great in something so different, because we scratched the surface with horror. Actually, I think Swamp Thing's the initial thing to scratch it with horror, because we haven't had New Mutants yet. So that was supposed to be the initial thing, and now it's 2 years delayed, pretty much, from its original release. But I trust DC when it comes to TV shows. Like, they're killing it, and what they're delivering right now outside DC Universe, they have a fan base for CW, and even though how I feel about the CW universe is kind of cheesy, doesn't mean it's it
has its, like you said, it has its fans.
Yeah, it has its fans, and why do you think Arrow has been around for so long? And it's sad. It's sad, because I would love to see the chemistry with John Constantine and Swamp Thing.
I love Zatanna. I love
Yeah.
Deadman. Like I love those characters. I would
And
have loved to have seen them on screen.
they're characters that need their exposure, because I know as much as the animated movie came out, there's no doubt live action interpretations really reached the fans.
Oh, absolutely. That's it.
So,
Absolutely. 100% agree.
which is very depressing, and I don't know. Like, if it happened with, yeah, it did say like these characters have their own spin-offs. Like, would there be I don't think there would need to be individual
Oh, me neither.
shows.
No,
I
no, no,
think
no.
maybe John Constantine to introduce the paranormal, and then the rest of them come together
Cross
like
pollinate. They just show up, here and
just
there.
like Guardians, like they're just
Yep.
all there, and
Yep.
Swamp Thing. You already have at least ties to the two characters.
Yep.
So like more DC news. This is kind of like a tiny bit, but Todd Phillips had to like go out there and just establish this, that Joker is going to be rated R, and he released a photo on Instagram just with the quote "finishing touches." It's just Joaquin Phoenix putting on makeup. No brainer, I think. If it were to like neuter itself and go down to a PG-13 rating, it would have been a lost opportunity. I just need to see the movie at this point, because I'm hearing like weird rumors about it. Like I hear it's just because remember they mentioned that they didn't confirm it, but they mentioned that this is like a standalone movie, correct?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
So I don't know. These are rumors, but it's like it's been picking up heat that it's just like really different.
Yeah, I read those same rumors, but I also read a rumor to undo the rumor, the rumor that is the main rumor that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy about because I don't like, it's hard because I don't like want to like if it ends up being true, I don't want to spoil it, but like
Yeah.
they
just text it to me, message me right now.
well you said it last week. You said it last week.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, right,
that
you're talking about. Yeah.
But now the rumor is that that's not going to be the case. That it's going to be they're going to make it seem like that, but that's not the case. And I prefer I prefer that because I don't want it. I like I want this movie so bad. I think it looks really promising. The trailer was a masterclass in trailer making.
Yes.
The song, the pacing, the editing. So far, Joaquin's portrayal, everything was spot on, beautiful. I love it. I want it now. And I like that this is separated from the main DC universe. I like that it's a little bit of a different take. And I like that it's in Gotham and it has Arkham, but it's not directly relying on Batman. But I don't want it to change. I don't want it to be like a complete like 180 where like it like completely dishevels the canon. I want it to just be its own inspired take on it. Mm-hmm. So like I said, the rumor I read undid the rumor you said, and I'd be very happy with that.
I'm glad to hear that, because the thing I dropped last week, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Right. Because
it's like Star Wars. It's a world. Like, it shouldn't have to be close knit as like that. I don't know. It's the same thing. Like, I'm comparing it to the Skywalkers. Like, we're only talking about the Skywalkers, and they're like, oh, like this is a whole fucking universe, and it always has to like hark back to the Skywalkers. Joker, I'm glad it has it has a good October release. It's perfect timing, and like you said,
yep.
The trailer is what sold me, because it didn't feel like anything tied to a comic book property, which you should view it as. And it's crazy because it had a weird production where Scorsese was tied to it, and
I didn't know he wasn't
left.
tied to it anymore until like a month ago. I thought he was still tied to it.
No, he wasn't. And then I hear now his production his production company of some sort is involved, but it's not him. So it's kind of weird, like where the silver lining is of like if he's still like having his his influence and like his business involved. But we'll see how it goes. This episode's pretty much all DC majority wise. And with bonus rounds, pretty much random other properties, especially like you guys will hear. But if we move on, Batman villains. This kind of dropped recently that the villains, pretty much that are really not officially confirmed, but that are mentioned that hopefully will be in the movie, is the Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, Firefly, which is so interesting, Two-Face, and Mad Hatter, which I love to hear that. And Reeves for Riddler is looking for a male actor between the ages 30 and 40. casting call describes him as a criminal mastermind in Gotham City who takes delight in incorporating riddles and puzzles into his schemes, leaving them as clues for the authorities to solve. So another character who I was really interested in is Firefly, just to describe him, a professional arsonist known as the Firefly. So if you ever played like Arkham City, like you'll definitely know who he is. And Reeves is looking for a person that's any ethnicity, nothing specified, between ages 20 and 30. So that's pretty a wide demographic for people to really apply themselves to and go for the role. And finally, who was the last person? Mad Hatter, who is actually, he's looking for someone between ages 30 and 40, so it's obviously an older age. What are your thoughts on these, these villains being brought? Because this is like, now that we hear these names, these are the 6 names that was mentioned previously. Or the 6 villains.
The six characters they mentioned they would, like, they said they have 6 villains, and now we have names to match them.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Mad Hatter has been surprisingly popping up a lot recently. A lot. He showed up in the animated Batman versus Robin.
The video games.
He showed up in the video games. He showed up in Young Justice Season 3. He showed up in I feel like one other thing. I feel like he was in a recent Batman comic storyline, so that actually doesn't surprise me because I feel like we've been seeing him a lot recently. I think it's a perfect blend, to be honest.
I love it.
It's 3. Well, actually, it's 4. It's 4 major Batman villains: Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, Two-Face. Which, I mean, even Catwoman probably wouldn't be a hardcore villain. So like, it's 3 major villains, 1 villain / anti-hero, and then it's two lower level, Firefly and Mad Hatter. And I think that's a perfect balance, right? Because you're not gonna have like it reminds me of Arkham, where it's like there's a bunch of characters, some of them more pop. All these characters appeared in Arkham. I just want Arkham. I just want like an adaptation of Arkham. Like that, the game series is so good, the story's so good, all of these characters I'd be excited to see. I do want to say that Firefly is the character that you can cast any race, right? Like sometimes characters are cast as, for the sake of diversity, and people flip out. And sometimes I can be like, all right, I understand, like they've always been this race, blah blah blah. But then there's some characters who nobody, like, who cares what race? Mm-hmm. First of all, barely anybody knows about Firefly unless you're a hardcore Batman fan. Yeah, and if you're a hardcore Batman fan, you don't care about his race. Like his race isn't in any way a distinguishing factor. So like, I'm happy that's any ethnicity because there's no reason to cast just a white guy. There's just cast anybody. I mean, who cares? Like, the Riddler, we're used to seeing him, as a tall, thin white guy. So I prefer that, stay that way. But not to bring social justice warrior and all that into this conversation. Whatever. But it's just like I said, there's certain characters that you can cast whatever, and Firefly is one of them. So I'm glad that they're open. And all of these characters I'd be excited to see.
Yeah, I'm very excited, and I don't want to rehash Batman villains again and recycle. I really wanted to, like, when they said Deathstroke with Ben Affleck's like run, I was very excited, because he could physically take him on. And then so once you read this list, and remember, this is a noir styled Batman by Matt Reeves. These characters cannot take Batman like really hand to hand combat. Maybe Catwoman at most. She's a tough. Right. She's actually the only one that could take him on. But the rest are like tricksters,
psychological
shit. Yeah, which is showing so much hope for this like detective vibe, and that's what I'm excited for, because no one realizes. Well, if you just watch Batman for only his movie incarnations, you don't see him as a genius of some sort, like crazy smart.
You just see him as a rich guy
that learned how to fight from ninjas, and that's it. Like, but in the comics, he's a genius. So, the fact, like, reading this list, not only it gave me so much hope for the noir, and it got me excited because it's pretty much the same cast of the Long Halloween, except it's still 6 people, but it's different. Like, okay, so Long Halloween had Joker in it, and I'm trying to recall like who else was in it, but like Mad Hatter was in it, and like some of these characters that are listed, except Firefly. So like, if you guys aren't like familiar with the Long Halloween, it's pretty much like Batman solving a crime for these murders because someone's killing people on holidays. So it's like kind of like a race to the clock, like to find out who did it. And he's pretty much interviewing all the villains throughout like Gotham to like figure it out. So like this is like exciting me because we're getting our feet wet with the Long Halloween. And like if it was based on, it'd be so cool if it released on Halloween, like around like in October. But obviously they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do it because it's, you know, summer numbers like they show. But that'd be so fucking cool. Like, that'd be so cool. Like a Halloween themed Batman.
I want. Can we have this? Can I have this? I want this.
Yeah, I will take my money right now. And it's just. I couldn't stop thinking of it when I wrote it down. I was like, wow, they really. And Matt Reeves is obviously passionate. He's not an idiot. So like, if they did this in like Incarnation, at least get their feet wet like a lot more than expected, and like have something like this, like it'd be really cool. And I don't know, I'm excited. But like in addition to this news, this is nothing, but Dave Bautista is interested in playing Bane. So that's really nothing. I don't think we need Bane. I'm satisfied with this cast of villains right now. But any final touches on this like topic right now?
I mean, I kind of want Bane. I kind of want Dave Bautista as Bane.
Yeah.
I'll swap out.
Who'd you swap out? I want Mad Hatter there. Like, I don't want to swap him out.
Yeah,
okay, we'll listen to this. I think Firefly's literally going to be the intro villain and get his ass kicked and then jailed.
I'm thinking the same exact thing. Like, he's buzzing around Gotham and Batman takes him down, and then like he comes across like a Riddler riddle while he's doing that, and it like sets up the story in motion.
Exactly.
But so I guess I feel like we need Firefly and Mad Hatter because they're two new characters.
Yes.
So then and then we need Catwoman. Like you need that femme fatale. So at least Riddler, Penguin, and Two-Face. And I feel like Two-Face didn't get enough to do in The Dark Knight Rises. So I want another Two-Face. So and then I feel like Riddler will probably be the master. I don't know, man. It's hard.
Riddler though. I want Riddler.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like he'll kind of be like the mastermind. So like that's it. I want 7. Just throw Bane in.
I think he's the main villain in my opinion, Riddler.
I think so too. Just have him appear for a couple scenes and then have him come back in the second one. That's it. There we go.
I would love to have Bane because as much as it's going to be noir inspired, like maybe the final climax is like when he's fighting Bane, like muscle. Like that's the part where we get our action scenes, like what we get for the main audience, you know.
But at the same time, like Tom King's. And I think it's happened in the stories before. Like Tom King's run right now, setting up Bane to be this freaking insane mastermind. Like Tom King's run, the whole what used to be 100 is now 86 or whatever. That's all Bane. That's all Bane, and that's all Bane being like super tactician. So like he doesn't even have to be just the brawn. He could be like the tactician too. Like he could be the strength that also has the brains to combat Batman in a number of different ways. So I want Dave Bautista's Bane, and I want him to just appear for a couple minutes to set it up, and then he could be in the second one.
Well, no, you're absolutely right because you just reminded me Bane is a genius even before Tom King. Like I remember,
I thought he was. I couldn't remember.
He was. Yeah, no, he was he is a tactician in his own way. But you know, the Batman and Robin, they didn't really give him that interpretation.
That was horrible.
Yeah, so I think that's what in the mindset of the basic fans like who just watch the movies instead of the comics. Because I do remember watching like a Now This video on Bane, and like they were just explaining like, oh, he's like actually a genius and shit like that, but that just gets thrown under the rug because we need muscle.
Yep.
So that's a wrap up for that. So we're going to bonus round. Just a fun fact: Avengers is 40 million away from beating Avatar's worldwide.
So close.
I don't think it's going to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know because it's lost all its steam. The only way it's going to make it is if Spider-Man does. You know what I'm saying? Like people people getting back into Marvel mode. If they do some type of exactly. If they do it before.
I wonder if they're doing Avatar worldwide. Do they consider re-releases? Because that's kind of unfair.
They do, but honestly, I think that it only made 10 million in its re-release. I think.
Okay.
So, and if anything, it's still 30 million away, which it possibly could. I don't know, man. It's lost so much steam. Like,
because I'm curious how. Okay, so what's a theater? I don't know if you know this, but what's a theater movie shelf life for like being in theaters?
It's hard because
3 months.
Avatar was like some crazy number. Avatar was like 4 or 5 months, but I think
That's
the
so
standard.
unfair.
I think the standard now is
3
like
months?
2 months, and
2
I think
months?
Avengers
Yeah.
might end up with like 3 months. I think.
When did Avengers come out? Oh yeah, it is. Damn, Matt. Yeah, 2 months. 2 months. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. So yeah, yesterday it was 50 million. Today it's 40. Like when I recently checked. So it's
So close.
It's so close. Like I don't really know when the cutoff is. I don't think anyone knows when the fucking cutoff is.
Yeah, Avengers just left the top 10 for this week, which is pretty big. So it was number 11. So it's lost a lot of steam. Like I said, I think the only way it's going to make it is if Spider-Man gives it a little bump because people
Spider-Man's
want to
coming out
reminisce.
when? Spider-Man July
July
4th, like the weekend of the 4th.
Is it? Or I actually have no idea. I just know it's in July. Let's look it up real quick.
Yeah.
It is July. July. I'm like clicking. It's like I'm on the page and it's like so hard to find. July 2nd. Oh, yeah. It's July 2nd. Okay.
Because the reason I'm asking is like how much, spacing. Right? What today's the 17th. So it's like I'm looking at my calendar.
I think I think Avengers will still be playing just a very few screenings when Spider-Man comes out. Because the Captain Marvel was still screening when Endgame came out.
And it got when Captain Marvel came out, people were watching it before Endgame, like just to catch up.
Exactly. So that's what I'm thinking.
So
that's what I'm thinking. It might get a little bit of a bump from Spider-Man, but we'll see, man. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I wouldn't bet if I had to bet money right now. I just wouldn't know where to put my money because I'm like
it's literally 50-50.
Yeah, it could and it couldn't. But if we continue. I know you didn't watch this, but I didn't finish the first season. Umbrella Academy is getting a season 2 and already beginning filming. This was an interesting tidbit. Darkseid was released by Zack Snyder, and it's like an image of him like in that flashback scene of them fighting. What's his fucking name?
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, Steppenwolf. Yeah, Steppenwolf and all that stuff. But you see him from afar. And it's kind of a flashback scene from Cyborg because Cyborg's like in his human form with his family, and he has like a nightmare. Cool.
I can't stand that Zach's doing this. By the way,
I know because remember he was bitching about like people saying, "Oh, I can't believe Batman's killing people," and like he flipped out and like on stage and was like, "You know what? Fuck yeah, he's a Batman that kills. Like you guys got to get used to it." Like I'm like, dude, the movie's over, man. Like relax.
Right. Like I can't stand. Oh, he's posting on his Vero like all this stuff of it. It's like, dude, like
the Snyder cut
don't
sucks.
Get me wrong,
probably.
You definitely, you had. I mean, you dealt a horrible loss. His daughter committed suicide. Like that's completely that comes first. But like, putting that like let's talk about your directing before that. You weren't good, and your films weren't good. So. Don't act like you were going to introduce Darkseid and like the leaked premise that he had for these 5 films. I thought that
it was
sounded
insane.
So stupid.
It was
insane. So stupid.
Yeah, it was too convoluted. I'm like in a 2-hour movie, like how? And I don't know. I'm fucking hearing about it every 2 weeks, and I'm like, dude, the Snyder Cut's gone.
Right.
It's gone. It wasn't going to be good. It wasn't going to be good anyway, in my opinion. Like, you can't save it. Like, what else could you possibly have, like... Okay, Superman suits black. Whatever. There's no depth to Superman because we don't care for him that much yet. Yep. We haven't even had Superman 2. Like, we don't care for Henry Cavill yet. There's no weight. That's why we care when Tony Stark dies.
10 years, 11 years,
Yeah. Like, it's... if you're gonna do fucking black Superman, you gotta have long hair too, like a beard and all that shit. Like you gotta be all gruff and shit. But like it was kind of just weird. Like fuck it, it's over, man. Fuck it. And moving on, Quiet Place 2 delves into the origins of the monsters. I'm excited for that. John Krasinski's back. He's directing. So, any thoughts on this one?
That's cool. I mean. I don't necessarily like. My first thought is that I don't need to know more about them. I thought that was fine, them just being like
A mystery.
a mystery. But at the same time, I'm not like angry about it. I'm sure. Hopefully, he'll come up with something interesting.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on. Detective Pikachu is you can now claim as the highest grossing video game movie of all time, along with the best reviewed. So it actually beat out Tomb Raider, which had 357 million with Angelina Jolie. And the question is like, and this was in 2001. So the question is Sonic the Hedgehog going to beat it? I really doubt Sonic's going to beat it. I don't. It might get
highly doubt it.
It might get a boost because all the fucking drama, like remaking the Sonic himself. I guess I see. That's the thing. You did tell me this was a video game, and I was like, I guess it counts, but at the same time, I don't feel like it does. I don't know why. I still haven't seen Detective Pikachu. I heard it's fun.
Me neither. I want to see it, but yeah, me neither.
I had one day I was supposed to like trying to see it, but I was like, never mind. Like, whatever. I'll just like stream it somewhere. My favorite video game is still Mortal Kombat. Like, I'll say that out loud. I really don't have much to say about it, but it's not really a high stand. It's Pokemon. That's the thing that raised the bar up because it's such an iconic name.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, man?
No, I just wanted to real quick. That Darkseid image had a caption: "Careful, Victor. If you go inside the mother boxes, they will fuck with you big time. That's not Father's Day. That's a trick." Right after that, when Barry runs time back after the League's initial failure and uses the epic jolt of Speed Force to project Vic into the boxes. So apparently,
that's the ending, right?
In the Snyder cut, Superman and Cyborg were going to die after failing to defeat Steppenwolf and the mother boxes, and so Flash was going to go back in time to give him a second chance. I don't care. I don't want that. I don't care about that.
It doesn't make sense, man. Because I was like, are they? When he went back in time, it's like, are they hinting injustice?
That's what they were hinting at. It was like, why?
It's so weird.
That's so weird.
It's too early. It's too early.
Exactly. We don't. Superman's already gritty. Why do we need to make him even more gritty?
I fucking hate that because it's like they're trying to be edgy and shit, but like we haven't even established a universe. Superman is supposed to be the Captain America of this fucking universe. Like,
and he's like emotional and like and just like
brooding. I don't know. The only thing I like about Superman is the music by Hans Zimmer. Like, I love the theme.
Yeah, it's a really good soundtrack.
But that was funny what you read that. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, fuck that. And okay, so if you're thinking about Justice League, it sucks for Ezra Miller. It's not his fault. He did his job.
Yeah.
It really does suck. And is this going to be the only interpretation of him? Because remember they were in talks of saying, "Oh, Flashpoint is going to be the reboot of this universe," and then now Flashpoint's not even happening. Like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh, they are like, oh my gosh.
All right, fuck. I fucking hate this stupid shit that keeps coming back. But Tarantino Star Trek. So speaking with Empire. Tarantino makes it again this week. He was asked on an update of the current stage of the Star Trek movie. He said, "There's a script that exists for now. I need to weigh in on it, and I haven't been able to do it because obviously he has his movie coming out." And then for the MPA rating, he was actually saying, "Oh, it's going to be rated R." So I'm not a Trekkie. I'm more of a Star Wars guy. Never seen the Star Trek properties except the main movies. I trust Tarantino because one, they need a Hail Mary for Star Trek right now when it comes to movie properties. And two, Tarantino is a fan himself, so I don't think they're going to have like F-bombs every 5 seconds. But I do, I'm expecting a sex scene or two from like Vulcan sex or something.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'd rather have him than, because it's going to bring the massive audience, not just Trekkie fans,
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because we talked about Zorro and Django being a possibility, and he wants to retire after 10 movies, so he only has one movie left. So I just want to see Star Trek. Fuck it. I don't care what the fan base says. You can have your TV shows, which are doing great, in my opinion. But would you be interested in a Star Trek rated R?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I mean, it does sound interesting just because it's like two different, like it's like you're mixing two different flavors that don't normally go together. So, if in that regard, it sounds interesting. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I remain neutral on that position on that.
Yeah, because like I'm watching like my YouTubers and they're like it's half and half, like for real, like just half and half divided straight down. We'll see. It's way too early to even be really talking about it because they finished the script. It's just not. Just because you finish the script doesn't mean it's gonna happen. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I will say if I had to choose between, if he has 10 in him, and I had to choose between this and Zoro Django, I'd choose Zoro Django.
Hell yeah. I would like when I let that marinate in my mind. I'm like, oh, that's gonna sound so cool. You have a sword fighter and a gunslinger, and it's rated R.
Give it to us now.
Yeah, put it on the table right now. But if we're going outside, I guess more into science fiction. Actually, we're gonna delve into that. Besides like comic books, the Division, the video game's getting a release on Netflix. So it's getting directed by David Leitch, who, along with screenwriter Rafe Judkins. So David did Hobbs and Shaw. He's a director of Atomic Blonde. He's uncredited on John Wick, but he did produce it, and he did No Good Deed, and he directed Deadpool 2. So the Division movie was announced 3 years ago, and now they're saying that Jessica Chastain and Jake Gyllenhaal are in to star, and Chastain along is going to help produce it. So if no one knows really the Division, this is like a summary of it. In the near future, a pandemic virus is spread via paper money on Black Friday. That's fucking crazy. Decimating a city of New York and killing millions. By Christmas, what's left of society has descended into chaos. A group of civilians trained to operate in catastrophic times are activated in an attempt to save who and what remains. Ooh, damn. People have some fucked up minds. That's like genius. That's genius. Black Friday and dollars. Holy shit. Did you play The Division?
No, I've seen it at like every E3, but I have not. That's a game that that's a game that relies heavily on having friends who also have the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I didn't have friends until like I know my one friend has it now, but I didn't have anybody to play it with, so I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get it.
No, I completely agree with that statement, and plus, like the only reason I didn't really think of buying it is because like it's Ubisoft, so I need to see the game like after, because like Ubisoft is kind of. Besides
hit or miss.
Besides the Assassin's Creed series, which is still kind of like I'm iffy about, and I think it needs to end. It's a cool concept, to be honest. But like, once you look at The Division, what's the budget on this motherfucking movie? Like, we're talking cities.
Yeah, it's confusing.
We're talking like I Am Legend, cities shut down. Like, how are you gonna do this in a budget? Like with New York.
That's a good question.
Weird. And Netflix movies are hit or miss, because like, what was that movie with Oscar Isaac, Ben Affleck, the guy from Sons of Anarchy?
It's
bothering me.
It was like a combination of words. It
Final
was like
Frontier. Is that
Yeah, is it? Yeah, I think is that it? Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier. Yeah. Triple Frontier. So like that movie was good with the cast, but it felt like a Netflix movie, but it wasn't that good in my opinion. So it's like
I liked it.
You liked it?
I liked it. I thought it was dope.
Out of 10, give me your rating. I kind of was like a 7, 6, 6.5.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7.5. I give it like a 7.
Okay. So I know
7.5, hot, maybe high, low 8, 7 point. Okay. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so at least I know where you stand, because it did have a stacked cast, and I don't think it was their fault. I think it was just the writing for me. Like I just thought I expected more, but whatever. Like my opinion is, I still think Netflix movies are developing, and like if they're gonna really go off on The Division, especially one, it's a video game property, and you do have huge stars, especially with Jessica Chastain coming up with it too. I need to see the Moot trailer because I don't understand how they're gonna do this budget. So
I agree.
We'll move on. I'm very excited for this. Doctor Sleep trailer dropped. Oh, so excited, because if you guys don't know, Doctor Sleep is a sequel. Yeah, Ben Kenobi's in it, aka Ewan McGregor. But Doctor Sleep is a sequel to Shining, and it takes with Danny Torrance years later, and I'm so excited because the trailer. So if no one knows that Stanley Kubrick directed Shining and Stephen King hated it, and a lot of fans are iffy on the movie of like what direction it went. And I saw in the YouTube comments some people were like, "Oh, if this has any ties to the movie, I'm not about it." But I'm like, you can tie the book like Doctor Sleep to the movie, but just adding the iconic scenes. You know, it doesn't have to be like referenced completely. Because I'll say this from my experience, like reading Doctor Sleep and hearing, not reading it, but reading about it and then hearing people that read it. Doctor Sleep is a whole different vibe compared to The Shining.
Yeah. I've heard the same thing.
It's not horror. It's more like a thriller type of thing, and I think they're just trying to pull in as much as they can to the other audience, like Red Rum and all the the iconic scenes of The Shining, just to bring them in. But Keanu, like, what are your thoughts on Doctor Sleep, and like what are your thoughts on The Shining overall? Like, does this excite you that Ben Kenobi's impersonating Danny Torrance, especially with the hot streak of what Stephen King is? Because we just got Pet Sematary, which I liked, but like this is the renaissance of Stephen King right now, all properties.
I think, well, The Shining is a horror classic. I definitely think, I understand that fans of King and fans of the novel might not like it, but there's also no disputing that's a classic. So like you can enjoy it as a horror film and also feel that it's not a good Shining adaptation. But I love my boy Ewan. I think I think Ewan McGregor is a fantastic actor. I mean, I love him in anything he's in. I'm excited for him to be playing that character. I'm excited for the film, and for me personally, I feel the exact same way you do, which is they should just they should show or hint at the big scenes from The Shining, and they can do that without it kind of like diluting it or by like tying it too heavily to the Stanley Kubrick version.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna move on. This actually, I think it's dropped today. So Hunger Games is actually getting a prequel, and Suzanne Collins is actually releasing more books. So it's gonna have material to base it off of. So according to the Hollywood Reporter, Collins is currently writing a prequel novel set 64 years before the start of the original Hunger Game novel. So this is currently untitled and is scheduled for May 19, 2020. Are you a big Hunger Games fan? I'm
not, but I did enjoy. I read the books in high school. It was actually my teacher assigned it to us. I enjoyed the book I only read the original. I enjoyed it in high school. Watched the original movie. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't watch or read the sequels, but I am excited by this news just because I feel like that's actually. I'm excited. I'm apprehensively excited because I feel like that's a really cool prospect. Like I feel like that's a really cool idea. Like 64 years before the original, so like it's probably when they first started the Hunger Games. It's probably like the government's in disarray and like whatever. Like you get to see why a nation would get to that point. So I think it's a really cool idea. I don't know. I feel like the sequels are super hokey. I feel like they're super like teen drama. I feel like the first one was a really cool balance of like this really battle royale with the teenage romance aspect being a good balance. I feel like the second and third one got really melodramatic. So that's the reason why I'm apprehensively excited, because I think it's a really cool premise and I want to see it taken like to new heights. But I don't know that it's necessarily going to do that because I feel like the sequels were kind of hokey. Have you seen Battle Royale, the Asian movie? I know of it. I haven't seen it. Oh, it's so... Okay, so if you guys don't know, Battle Royale is like a Japanese Hunger Games, but it's like bloody. It's like realistic. Yeah, and I felt uncomfortable watching it. It's on Netflix. It's really fucked up though. Like because if they don't fight and they don't kill each other, they have like a contraption on their neck that explodes. So what, it was a type of Suicide Squad? Yeah, don't you fucking say that. Nice job, Will Smith. But, I completely agree with the teen drama, because when I think Hunger Games, I'm thinking like Divergent and then Maze Runner coming out. Yep. And I'm gonna put this straight up. Like I liked Hunger Games, the first one, but when I talked to people that read the books, I heard it's pretty accurate to the books from like for the first movie and the second movie, and I'm not really a fan, and I'm not a fan of prequels. I fucking hate prequels, and I'm just like, no, you're throwing good stuff, like saying like, yeah, because the world is cool.
The world is very cool. And I'm like, okay, it's a prequel. Like, what is this? Like a tie-in universe to the fucking Purge? Like, now we're just going to do it to, like, one person instead of, like, all of society. I don't know. It's just, I was never huge on it. It's such a big fan base, but is it too late? Is that,
I
like,
think
is that a question?
I think it could be too late. I think that is a real possibility.
You know, because, like, we were in high school, right?
Yeah.
High school, maybe late high school, like, maybe junior, senior
Yeah,
year.
I'm pretty sure I was a junior.
Yeah, so that's when that took off, and before that, it was Twilight. So it's like a next teen drama, whatever, like, was the next trend. I don't know. I think it's a little. I'm gonna say, what was the last one? Kill a Mocking, to kill. To kill. No, not kill. That was a clip. That's a clip right there. To Kill a Mockingbird. What a fucking class.
That's the original prequel.
Mockingjay. Was it Mockingjay, right?
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was Mockingjay.
To Kill a Mockingbird. Fuck me. So the last movie, part one was in 2014. So the next movie was To Kill a Mockingbird. I'm a fucking clown. Last one was 2015. So 4 years.
Has it only been 4 years?
Yeah, doesn't that feel like longer?
It feels like it's been like a decade. It just feels like it's been forever.
And like you're not having Katniss, and Jennifer Lawrence,
which I'm actually happy about because I'm J-Law'd out already.
Yeah, she was, but that's the thing. Like, she's not in her prime anymore. You know what I mean? She's not like the hot thing. Like, what's the hot thing right now? I'm trying to think. The Rock.
Damn right, it's The Rock. I'm trying to think. Like it's I don't know.
I'm trying to think because like remember Sam Worthington was supposed to be the shit.
Right, and that went nowhere. Because J-Law was the hot item during that time.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of who is like that now. And I can't honestly, like I can't even. Maybe Margot Robbie. Maybe like I can't even. I feel like that's
a reach.
Though.
That's a reach. Yeah. I mean,
who else? See,
Margot Robbie made, you know, her name is spread out because of like her looks, like clearly, and like she had a couple good roles. Like Wolf of Wall Street was like such an iconic movie. But besides that, I don't know. Like, well, in this past couple weeks, Keanu Reeves is right now. Like,
damn right.
But you know what's cool? Because like whoever his manager is timed the fuck out of it for all these things to happen back to back and wasn't like too much saturation of him. You know, like I don't feel like saturated with Keanu Reeves right now. It's like a good steady amount where it's spaced out.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and yeah, I don't know. Hunger Games, cool. So this next bit is Monsters at Work. So Disney Plus is recruiting a spin-off sequel to Monsters Inc. So Monsters Inc. is really like a close one to me, and Toy Story especially.
Same here.
I think it's because like they timed it with Monsters University when we left for college.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. It tied to our lives, especially Toy Story 2. Like those in hand. So the plot for this series is surrounding a monster named Tylor Tuscamon. A Monsters at Work will focus on the character as he climbs in the facility ranks, taking place 6 months after his Monsters Inc. Monsters at Work. We'll see Tuscamon looking up to Mike and Sully. So I'm interested. You know, you can run this thing for as long as you want because of the series. But Keanu, I mean, what are your thoughts on Monsters Inc.? Like, how close was it to you, and what do you think of this spin-off series?
Exactly, dude. Like you said, Toy Story, Monsters Inc. super close to home. Toy Story 3, when Andy goes to college, and then Monsters University, they literally came out right when we were going to college.
Yeah.
I love the franchise. My brother used to watch the first Monsters Inc. like on repeat in the car, like for like a year, like straight. Like it's crazy. So like it's ingrained in my head. I love it. It was just in Kingdom Hearts 3. I love it. I'm excited for the series. I love that it has the original cast. I love that it has John Goodman, Billy Crystal, Jennifer Tilly. Like I love that it has the original actors.
Oh shit! Jennifer Tilly was in that. She was the girl, the snake girl.
Celia.
Right? Yeah.
Celia. Yeah. And the new guy, Tylor, he's voiced by Ben Feldman. I'm actually a huge fan of his from Superstore. So I'm super excited about this show, and I can't wait. It's just more like I love that. that Disney Plus is only $6 or whatever, and I love that's not based on how much I want it, because like if it was based on it, like they just keep coming out with more stuff that I'm like, yep, I would have subscribed just for this. So the fact that I want everything is just an added bonus.
Yeah, it kind of makes it perfect because my brother pays for our Netflix, so like I'm gonna buy this. Like this is gonna be added to my bill,
and it's gonna work out because it's only $6.
Yeah, and it's shared. We all share the shit, and I'll be like, all right, fine, here's my account. You know, oh man, it's just they're making so much money, and like $6. Do you think that's gonna stay the $6 price, or is it like the initial push, and then they're gonna raise it up?
I don't know, man. I think it might. I think at least for a year or two it'll stay that price, because I think they don't have such a massive sign up. I think so many people will pay for it up front,
yeah,
that they won't have to worry about gouging for price. I think it will go up in price eventually, just because that's like it's Disney, it's business. But I think at least for the first year, it'll stay $6, because I think it has so much content that so many people are going to sign up that they won't have to raise the price, because they're just going to be making so much money hand over fist.
Yeah. I just don't know how. Okay, so Disney's already a fucking behemoth of an empire, so it's like I'm just wondering how they're making this profit off the $6. It's kind of so like, how much is Hulu? Do you like? I get it for free because of Spotify, so I don't really know the price. And Netflix right now,
same.
Netflix right now, it kind of bumped up. I know that because my brother does pay for like the 4K package and stuff.
Me too.
So I think that's what, $12. I know it's double digits.
It's even more, dog. I think it's like $17.
I wouldn't be surprised. So
I pay for all of our streaming services, because my dad pays for the actual cable. We still have cable, actually, because internet, cable, and phone, you end up just working out better just to have the whole package. But
I don't even touch cable. I don't even touch cable anymore.
I still watch it. Well, I still watch it, and like my sister watches like all the kids channels and stuff, and I watch like all the premium channels. But I think I pay for all of them. So like I pay for I think Netflix with 4K is like $17. I get Hulu through Spotify as well, but I think Hulu on its own is like $6 with ads. Like $6 with ads, 11 or 12 without. And then I pay, and then I do DC Universe, which is $6 a month or something. And when I did, like I said, I did CBS just for like a month or two, just for Twilight Zone. That was way overpriced. That was like $10 for no commercials.
And you ended that, so
I did that, yeah. And then I also subscribe to Boomerang, which is like all the old Cartoon Network cartoons.
Oh, how is that? I forgot that came out.
Oh, I love it. Everyone in my house uses it. I love classic cartoons. My mom loves the cartoons from when she was younger. They have like all like the old Scooby Doo's. They have the whole series of Flintstones, all the spin-offs. They have the Jetsons. That's like $60 a year. And that's worth the price. That's worth the price. Like,
that's worth it
because I use it so much.
Yeah, that's not bad. What? Yeah, I'm for that. I did remember hearing about that.
It's worth it alone just because it has the entire Flintstone series, and like the DVD for the whole Flintstone series is like, I'm pretty sure like $60, at least $60.
Yeah, $60. You just got like, you're paying $5. That's not much.
And you're getting all these shows.
Yeah, I do love like retro shit. Like, I don't know. I just like the old school stuff. So like we're gonna final bits. It's kind of just wrap up because E3 was like last week, and just our thoughts on it. We can start with Avengers. It's released by Square Enix, and it's coming out May 15, 2020, and it's going to have an ever-expanding universe, so it's going to be like consistently growing with new superheroes, and that like every new hero in the world will be added for free, which was awesome for the announcement. But after we thought it was pretty cool, the internet was like in disarray, like with the costumes. I mean, Cap looks like a SWAT guy, but I mean, his helmet grew on me. I just didn't like the body armor. What do you expect? It wasn't gonna be Chris Evans and like the fucking cast,
Right.
We're bugging.
Right.
And like, especially Spider-Man.
Although Black Widow did look a little.
Yeah, they're saying she looks like Prince Farquaad and like Prince Charming.
Yeah, they need to work. They need like Injustice, the original Injustice. Like I felt like half of the female characters on that roster, like they were like not, the character design was not there. I thought I think actually all of them. Like I think most of the characters in the original Injustice look super weird, and and for the Avengers, I definitely think Black Widow, they need to work on her model. Thor, some of his hair graphics did not look up to stuff for a late PS4 generation game. But the game as a whole looks exciting.
Yeah. I just it's too early. It's the teaser. The funny thing is, like, when they showed Hank Pym, I was like, who the fuck's Hank Pym? I'm like, oh, that's the real Ant-Man. Like, I forgot. I was like, I'm so used to Scott, and like, he doesn't look like Hank Pym at all. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll take it. But I actually read some articles, like, the gameplay's like, so Thor's kind of like God of War gameplay. Hulk was kind of like the funnest thing. Like, it's kind of like Assassin's Creed, because apparently you can walk up the walls and shit with Hulk. Black Widow is kind of all right, and then they did say, like, Captain America was like Arkham Asylum, like, combat style, like throwing the shield, countering. Like, I'm excited for that. I'm just kind of curious, like, how it's gonna be with all 4 characters. Like, Hulk's gonna be jumping, Thor's gonna be flying if you wanted to. I really think that if they're gonna do Tony Stark or Iron Man, they should really base it off Anthem with, like, how they fly. But I mean, E3, what's your overall thoughts? I thought it was okay. The only thing I was excited for was just Nintendo, because, like, I love Sony, so they weren't there, so it kind of just didn't feel like E3. It's kind of underwhelming in my opinion, but that doesn't mean it wasn't bad.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I've been watching. I commented on an Instagram account I follow. They were talking about it, and the kid who runs it is young, and he's like, yeah, this is like my fourth or fifth year watching it. This was the worst E3 I saw, and I was like, listen, kid, all right,
yeah.
Let an elder come into this conversation.
Yeah.
I've been watching E3. I've been watching E3 for 15 years, and this was gold. This was this was a 2001 A Space Odyssey compared to, like, the late 2000s, when, like, we had the Wii Music presentation for Nintendo, when we had Mr. Caffeine for Ubisoft. I mean, they were there when Sony used to do their conference. It was like 2 hours, and the whole first hour was just them talking about their sales numbers. Mm-hmm. So I'm so, like, I like, it's one of those things where, like, we started from the bottom, now we're here. And, like, the original E3s from when I was younger, like, they some of them really sucked. So this wasn't a bad E3. It was just a lackluster E3. And it's like you said, I'm the same way. I always loved Nintendo and Sony. I don't mind Xbox. I enjoy watching Xbox, but I look forward to Sony and Nintendo. And with Sony, calling it quits this year, not being there, you only really had Nintendo to look forward to. It wasn't a bad E3. Every presentation was a good presentation. There was no cringy moments. They showed the games. There was game after game after game, and a lot of the games they showed looked polished. It's just there wasn't any. E3. One of the best parts of it is the surprise factor. It's oh man, like, I didn't expect this. Everything we saw, we expected. We've waited years to see Avengers. We waited years to see Final Fantasy. We've waited years or a year officially, but years to see Animal Crossing. Mm-hmm. So it was a good E3. It just was a lackluster E3, just for the sake of, because Sony wasn't there, and everything that was announced we've seen. Yeah. So I enjoyed it, but it was like a universal opinion that just was like, that was neat. But
it was still
next
fun.
year, yeah, it was fun. And next year, I mean, listen, next year should be amazing, because Xbox and Sony are going to show their new consoles. And then, so that means they have to show games to go with it, to show off the tech. So next year, Bethesda might show Elder Scrolls finally. They might show Starfield finally. We'll see the new consoles. Nintendo will show Metroid Prime 4.
What about the Switch? Possibly the Switch. Will we get you think that would be before it, the new releases for it?
I think I think they'll either be before or right around that time. Like, I think they'll probably be, if they're gonna make them, I think they'll be announced before that time, and either coming out right before E3 or coming out right after E3. And so the E3 itself won't be about announcing it; it'll be about showing some games that utilize it. But I think it'll be like the new 3DS, where it's basically the same thing as a Switch, but it just has a little bit of a better power, like graphics engine and all that, and whatever the terminology is. And so it'll just be kind of marginally better. But I don't think it'll be anything like brand new. But I think they'll have a bunch of games to show: Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4. Yeah. So I think next year is going to be pretty exciting.
I'm excited, and one thing that really sold me, like, okay, so when next year happens, we're gonna be deep into Google Stadia, and I'm wondering, like, are they gonna have like a play in it? Because I know they're getting major games, like they're getting Avengers, and I'm curious with this whole cloud gaming thing. I'm really fascinated by it, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on Google Stadia? Because I'm just waiting for November to hit to see how it works. Because I would love to give it a shot, and just to see what the
I
hype
definitely
is.
think that it has a lot of potential. I think it's going to be a very slow process because no matter how much technology they put behind it, internet is just not there across America. That's just a
Yeah,
fact.
it's a fact.
In Japan they get like 100 million gigabits per second, but across America it's just not there. So no matter how they optimize it, we won't be there the year it comes out. I think it'll be something that slowly. I think it'll be slowly. It'll build up. It seems like they're going to have the content early on to support it. It just won't be like the actual physical bandwidth. I don't think will be up to snuff. So I think because like you said, they showed that they're gonna have a bunch of games, and like Ubisoft already announced they're going to be supporting it, and
Hmm.
but also Microsoft is doing their own cloud based thing, xCloud, and there's rumors that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, all three of them are going to actually work together to use that xCloud technology.
Hmm.
So it looks like it might be like the future might end up being console versus console versus Google,
Google, yeah,
and
because
both of the
that's what they
and
were
bo-
saying about Xbox. Like
yeah,
they weren't going against Sony. They were actually just going against Google at that point.
and the rumor, and the rumor is that they're gonna it's gonna be a matter of straight up streaming with Stadia or console based streaming where where you can run you could run a beautiful game without the cloud, so you're not reliant on the internet, but at the same time it'll be cloud enabled, so you can even amp it up even more, so it'll
Hmm.
look beautiful to begin with, but then you could use the cloud to make it look like crystal clear 4K, 60 frame, you know what I'm saying, like, so I think Stadia is going to be successful. I just think it's going to take a very long time to be successful
Hmm.
because of the internet, and I think we'll end up seeing that same amount of support in consoles, um, and it'll be interesting.
Well, that's my cousin. Like he's into the whole. He's a PC guy, and he's like, dude, I think I'm gonna get Sadia, and I'm like, I think it's a smart concept. Absolutely, it's the future.
And also the price is another big thing, right? Like
Yeah,
if you're a PC gamer, then you're already invested in high-end graphics cards and
yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
So it's like if you're already a PC gamer, Stadia might not be worth it in the beginning because if it's expensive, you already spent the money on your graphics card and you get
Hmm.
probably similar results. So that's another thing is the price.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. Like we got to wait till November and see how it actually drops and performs. Because like people are saying, oh, they played fucking Doom on a Chromebook, and I'm like, that's interesting to hear. Like,
It is, yeah,
and plus,
absolutely.
like, Microsoft, they were ahead of Sony because they wanted to do cloud based gaming, and remember they made an Xbox without any fucking CD thing, like
Hmm.
where you put your CD in. It's just all through the internet. So I don't know. It's a great concept, and me personally, I'm such a physical, like I'm physical with everything. I like physical comics. I like physical cartridges. Like when I get my Switch tomorrow, I'm literally gonna get the cartridges. Like
Oh, I'm the same way for every game I get is physical. I like to
okay,
have it. I
yeah,
like to hold it. I like to collect it.
exactly. So that's the thing I like to do too. Like I still collect my movie tickets. Like I have them since like 2010. Um, but I mean, like if I had to think about games that really stood out, Cyberpunk, of course, that was great.
Oh, I
And
can't
then,
wait.
but you know what kind of grew on me? Link's Awakening, getting that reboot, and like the style of it looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks
It, loo-
different. Like
it looks something I would take because I don't know, just like I wasn't sold on it, but then I learned about it. I'm like, okay, and then Ultimate Alliance, I'm already sold. Avengers, I still need to see some new stuff, but I liked it. It looked cool. Like, it's cinematic as hell. And there's no loot boxes, so it's like,
sign me up.
yeah, like I was like, take notes, EA, like seriously, like, and now fucking Mortal Kombat's starting to do like loot crates with the whole crypt.
Yeah, man.
It's ridiculous. It's just all money makers. But like I said, underwhelming. I mean, what were the top games that stood out besides Cyberpunk? Because I know you're going to say that.
Cyberpunk. Luigi. For me, Luigi's Mansion 3. I'm a huge fan of that.
Multiplayer.
Yeah, exactly. Co-op too. Like, I'm a huge fan of that franchise. I love the atmosphere. I love horror. I love Ghostbusters. I love Luigi. So like all those things in one game literally makes me faint. That Cyberpunk, Luigi's Mansion 3. What else stood out? To a degree, Final Fantasy.
7, the remake.
Yeah. And as a joke, but not really. The Lego Star Wars remastered, because I love that game.
Bad. Yeah, that's a fun game to play. Any Lego version, I think, is really fun. Dude, I didn't even know they had. So I was looking at the E3 sales for Nintendo. I didn't know they had Final Fantasy 7 on the Switch, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to buy it now. I'm like,
they have a bunch of they're expensive though, man. Like all the re-releases are like expensive for no reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna get with the sale, but the sale is only digital, so I was like, fuck. Like like I said, I like having the cartridge with me.
Well, that's the good thing at least is like I think like the Final Fantasy re-release is only digital anyway.
Yeah, there's that. Any final thoughts on E3 before we close out?
Dude, when they showed Banjo, man.
Why didn't I even mention that? Oh my god.
For Smash, people cried, man. People were like emotional.
Dude, I wish I made a reaction because I was like, they fucking did it. They thought I was crazy. Because like, when we first released Smash, I was like, how did they not have Banjo? Like, that was a rumor, and Shadow was a rumor too. I was like, oh, they're gonna be it. And then it didn't happen. I'm like, dude, this is a fucking loss if they don't have Banjo. And my boy's obsessed with like, he's a pure Nintendo head, so he almost cried when King K. Rool was like announced.
Oh, same, and it was so exciting.
Yeah, and now Banjo, like finally, like we have him.
It just goes to show how much best friends Nintendo and Microsoft are becoming.
Yes. I was just gonna say that, because it's like it's the original Banjo. It's not the nuts and bolts Banjo. Yeah. And the fact that Banjo's back in Nintendo is like such a great feeling. And now I'm like, are we gonna get like a Spyro or like Crash Bandicoot? Like, who else are we gonna get? Like, I'm curious.
Yeah, dude, I can't. We got 2 characters left in the season 1 in the Fighter Pass. We don't know if we're gonna get a second Fighter Pass, but we know in the first Fighter Pass we have 2 characters left, and it'll be interesting to see who those characters are.
It better not be some bullshit like Piranha Plant, because that's some stupid shit. I don't know.
Well, look, at least I did like that Piranha Plant was like he's like a extra character. Like, he's not part of the original 5. Like, he's just like, I feel like they had extra time, and they were just like, hey, let's make this random character.
I low key want. Well, there's 2 things. One, I want a Castlevania character, like another one, like Alucard. I would love to have him instead of like an assist trophy. And then 2, I think they should make another Castlevania game. Like,
oh, I agree. Yeah.
Like maybe make it like a platformer, but like update it where it's like, okay, let's do a Link's Awakening, but Castlevania with the updated graphics, and it's kind of like a platformer. That'd be cool. I would love.
They have an unofficial one. They have Bloodstained. Have you seen Bloodstained?
I heard of it, and I heard of Dead Cells. So
Bloodstained is made by the original creator of Castlevania.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard that. But I want Castlevania, and plus, like, it's smart because you're fresh off, Simon, Belmont, and Richter off the hype of them being there. Like, I was so happy.
And the Netflix show.
Yeah, and that's wrapped up. Yeah, I saw season 2. It's just, I don't know. Maybe this can be like a new reborn, like a rebirth for Castlevania, even though like they kind of fucked it up with like the the 3D like PS2 version.
I remember that one. Was it like Lord of Shadows or something?
Yeah. So maybe they can go back to its roots, especially with the Switch, which can handle the graphics. But yeah, that's just like what I wanted to add. But anything to add, man? I'm gonna wrap this episode up because we've just been ranting.
Yeah, I just a shout out to one of our new listeners, my aunt Leslie. Thanks for following. Thanks for being a part of the listening crew.
Yeah, seriously. Your aunt listens, like, she likes the same stuff as us? Like,
she goes to the movies she actually goes more than me. She goes like every week with her kids. And she enjoys listening to podcasts. So it's like the perfect balance.
Oh, what? Thank you, Keanu's aunt. I wish I had an aunt like you. I feel like me and my brother are like the only nerds in our family, so it's kind of. I'm about to have a wedding this weekend, so my family's gonna be like, "Oh my god, your podcast!" So I'm gonna get a lot of that. Guys, I'm gonna wrap this episode up. Thank you for tuning in to Movie Talk. Always appreciate it. Always, I would love for us to rate us on Apple Podcasts. Remember that we're also on Spotify and Stitcher, and most importantly, we're on YouTube. We did promise that we're trying to make this like a Movie Talk video, but it's kind of like a work in progress, and
we're gonna get to it.
We're gonna get to it, yeah. So it's more immersive. But thank you for people mainly Movie Talk has been a seller on audio, and I want to thank you guys so much. But remember, episodes every Monday. Kind of been slacking on the timing, but at least it's still early in the week for you guys to like really catch up and get to listen to this. But I am going back to school. I do want to tell you guys that. So it's a while from now, but like just a heads up, like episodes will be dropped like sporadically, but at least you'll get it within that week. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.